Have you ever had someone ask how you're doing? I mean, really want to know how you're doing, not just saying, how are you? And your brain just kind of goes into like buffering mode. Like, there's something happening inside, but no words show up. You just don't know what the feeling is. So you default to, I'm fine. Not because you're hiding anything and not because you're fine, but because literally that's kind of all you got. If that sounds familiar, you are not alone. There's actually a name for this experience. It's called alexithymia. And no, it's not a made up Scrabble word. It is actually an experience that many people have. Although, speaking of, let's do a Scrabble challenge. What's the word score for alexithymia? Now, folks who actually play Scrabble, I know you'd never play this in a real game. I think it's actually impossible. This is just for fun, a theoretical score challenge. No Scrabble boards are going to be harmed in the making of this video. But the first one who drops the correct score in the comments will win a thank you gift from my little online store of emotional regulation tools. So, looking forward to seeing that because, yes, I reward emotional curiosity and good math. So let's talk some more about what is this alexithymia thing. It literally means no words for emotions, but it's not about being cold or disconnected. It's about how your brain processes emotion internally. Now, for some people, emotions show up like a clear headline. Oh, I'm feeling sad because of that thing that happened earlier today. It makes sense. It's right there. For others, including a lot of the folks I work with, it's more like a fuzzy radio signal from another room. There's something there, you're aware of it, but it's really hard to tune in and even harder to maybe even name what's going on. Now, alexithymia isn't a diagnosis, isn't a disorder, it isn't a flaw. It's a way some brains are wired or have adapted to manage overwhelming emotion, chaotic environments, or just plain confusion. And by the way, if any of this is already starting to sound familiar, I made a PDF that is something that I share with my clients, and it's called "How to Name What You Feel and Why It Matters." And what I've done is put together emotion word lists, body-based cues, low pressure prompts to help people start finding language for what's happening inside, what's emotionally going on. And I thought I might share it with y'all. The link's in the description in the pinned comment. So I'd love to hear if it's helpful to you. Let's talk about what alexithymia actually might feel like. Now, here's a disclaimer. Everybody's experience is going to be a little different, right? This is very, very general terms, right? We can't describe everything everyone might experience in a quick little YouTube video. But you might recognize yourself in an alexithymic sort of mode. If, let's say, you journal, but it tends to be all facts, no feelings, kind of just what happened today. Another thing you might notice is you say, I'm fine, but it's out of default, not, trying to cover things up or pretend everything's okay. You may notice you have physical sensations like racing heart, tension, shaking, but you have no words to explain them. Or you may shut down or snap and think, where did that even come from? I did not see that coming. And someone asks, what are you feeling? And your brain just kind of goes, "Zzz, I have no idea. Just white noise." Some folks say their emotions just feel foggy. And others say they're way too big, like all the feelings show up at once in this big tangled mess. But the common thread in alexithymia is that the signal's there, the words aren't. Why does alexithymia show up? Well, for some people, it's a trait. It's a consistent way their nervous system processes emotions. This is often true for autistic folks, some folks with ADHD, or those with naturally lower interoceptive sensitivity. So let's talk about what this thing is called interoceptive sensitivity. It's basically how good you are at noticing the signals coming from inside your own body. Think of it like this: your body is constantly sending you little text messages. Your heart racing when you're nervous, or your stomach growling when you're hungry, that warm flush in your cheeks when you're embarrassed. Some people's internal antenna is super strong. They pick up on those signals quickly and clearly. Others have kind of a weaker connection, so signals feel fuzzy, delayed, or harder to notice. If you can tell your heart sped up the moment you saw a scary scene in a movie, that's high interoceptive sensitivity. If you often don't realize you're hungry until you're absolutely starving, or you don't notice your anxiety until you're already panicking, that's lower interoceptive sensitivity. People like athletes, meditators, people who practice body awareness skills regularly often train this ability so they become more tuned into their body's whispers before they turn into screams. It's not about being right or wrong. These are just differences in how tuned in we are. But being more aware of your body's cues can help with things like managing stress, regulating emotions, and even preventing burnout. So, back to alexithymia. Like I said before, for some people it's a trait. It's a consistent way their nervous system processes emotions. Now, for others, it's really more state based, meaning it shows up during times of high stress, trauma, or emotional overwhelms, kind of like a fog that rolls in and makes everything kind of hard to access. A lot of the clients I work with, especially those with borderline personality disorder, often describe this emotional numbing as a kind of shut off switch. It's kind of like, not because they don't feel anything, and certainly not because they don't feel deeply, but because feelings have been punished, misread, or dismissed so many times, their brain just stops translating those internal cues into words. It's just like, we don't want to go there. That's not a good place to be. Now, this is often the legacy of chronic invalidation, being told over and over and over again that your feelings are too much, too weird, too wrong. And your nervous system learns after a while, guess I can't trust these signals, better shut them down. It's just better off that way. It's also common after trauma. If emotions felt unsafe or out of control, your brain may have adapted by muting them or disconnecting from the language that helps you name the emotional experience and process it. This isn't about, being broken or about there's something being wrong with you. It's about your brain trying to protect you. And the neuroscience backs it up. Alexithymia is linked to reduced activity in the parts of the brain that connect to interoception. And, you know, oh my gosh, I just said alexithymia and my Alexa came on. Anyway, um, it really interferes with the language centers that name what you're feeling. I think I better go unplug Alexa. I'll be back. So, why does any of this matter? Why is it important to be able to name emotions? It's because when you can't name what you feel, it's really hard to know how to take care of yourself. You might not know if you're sad, lonely, anxious, or just tired, and you might try solving the wrong problem. Or you might push your needs aside completely until you melt down, blow up, or shut down. That's where something called emotional granularity comes in. So, emotional granularity is the ability to name what you're feeling with clarity and with precision. This is how I feel, and here's why. It's the difference between saying, I feel bad or I feel upset, and saying, I feel stretched thin, kind of ashamed, and super tired. That kind of sounds like today. People with higher emotional granularity tend to regulate emotions better. They know what emotions to target. They make better decisions because they know what's problems they're trying to fix. Because remember, emotions are often signals about things that need to change in our lives. And they tend to recover faster from stress. Why? Because when you can name it, you can tame it. That's stolen from Dan Siegel, the neuroscientist. And when you can meet it, you can care for it. So if you know what you're feeling, you can better know what to do about it. I'm going to tell you a story about a client I worked with. Once she told me that before we started doing emotional vocabulary work, all she could say was, I'm overwhelmed, I'm stressed, I'm exhausted. After a few months, she started saying things like, I'm feeling disappointed and overstimulated, and I think I need rest and space, not advice. That's what emotional granularity can do. Doesn't make you more emotional. It gives you better tools to work with what's already there. So, if you're someone who struggles to name emotions or even wonders if you even really feel them, I really hope you'll check out the free resource I made for you. It's called How to Name What You Feel and Why It Matters. You can download it now. The link is in the description and in the pinned comment. I would really love to hear whether you find it helpful or not. And if you've been feeling numb or blank or like you're just missing the feelings chip, and if you're ready to reconnect with what's going on inside, it's entirely possible. Not all at once, not perfectly, but one word, one cue, one teeny tiny piece at a time. And if you feel like sharing, I'd love to hear in the comments what kind of emotions that you're looking to name, and maybe even what's one emotion you've been trying to pinpoint lately. Thanks for being here. I'm so happy that you come to join me sometimes. I'll look forward to seeing you in the next one. And here's another video that you might find helpful. Take care. Bye for now.